Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Lebogang, but you'll get to know me as Elle because the channel's name is ThroughEllesEyes. First of all, before I get into today's entry, I want to send a quick shout out to every single person who has supported ThroughEllesEyes. I really appreciate the love and support. And for you who may have just come across this channel, I would like to welcome you firstly and invite you to subscribe and stay onto the channel. And I hope that you find something that resonates with you and we can make the ThroughEllesEyes community grow bigger and better and stronger as the days, weeks, months and years pass. So today's entry is basically the second installment of the things that I love to do. A few weeks ago I had spoken about creating content in the month of love that is basically angled around the things that I love to do. The first one was basically vlogging and introducing or celebrating the year that ThroughEllesEyes was, the highs, the lows, the challenges, what I have learned, the 5 things that I learned from being a South African vlogger. Now second to that is my love for books. I really enjoy reading. I feel like it's a great pastime for me specifically. It's just a form of escapism where you get to live in the pages of the books that you read. You become the characters. You smell the little scents that are described. You can visualize the settings that are described in the books. There's just so much to it. And it broadens your knowledge. It basically also broadens your vocabulary because there are certain words that you get to learn or phrases that you get to learn from books that you wouldn't have otherwise known of, right? So I'm a bibliophile. Bibliophiles are people that love reading, and I want to bring you into my world of reading. So let me paint this picture for you. In I think it was 2016. Yes, it was 2016. I was walking through a mall and I spotted this baby over here. There was a book sale and it was laid out. So the cover caught my eye. Eat, Pray, Love. I looked at the back and I was like, oh no, I actually looked right here. The price was here, the tag was here, and it was going for 40 Rand. And I thought, oh my gosh, is this the original Elizabeth Gilbert's copy of Eat, Pray, Love? What a steal, because the bookshops that I went to looking for this book had completely run out of it. So you can imagine, it's a bestseller. And then I read further down, it just says, made me do it. So basically, these are life journeys inspired by the best-selling memoir. So it's a compilation of letters that were written to Elizabeth Gilbert of people really revealing what the book helped them to do. And I really enjoyed this because as I was reading, there was a letter by a South African lady who actually gave her testimony. And that made me think. So this is basically people who let go of their inhibitions, their fears, and chose to do the things that they want to pursue. And it made me think how I really loved book clubs. And I thought, oh hell, why the hell not? So in December 2016, I put out a call to action on my Facebook page, and I got a great response from family and friends who would love to be a book club, because I used to be part of book clubs, but they were established by other people and ran by them. And when they failed, the second best thing for me to do was carry about life as if nothing happened. So after that, we were well on our way to starting a book club. So bear in mind, this entry is not about a book club and how to start a book club. If you're interested in that, please comment down below and I'll definitely consider doing that. Whichever way the votes sway, I will consider creating a video about how to start a book club, the challenges, what I experienced in that process. But I just wanted to give you a backstory that kind of influenced the reading, the books that I read in 2017. From then on, we started the book club, so quite a lot of themes, and the books that I'm about to present to you come from the themes that we established for the book club. Our core or our broadest theme was supporting local, whether Pan-African or local South African authors, you name it. But it was so difficult to actually find the first book that we ended up settling for an American author, but I definitely enjoyed it. So the first book that I read was The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Now this made me realize how people express themselves in terms of love. So for example, some people may overlook that their partner would love to express their love for them through words of affirmation, and they're expecting gifts. Or some may expect words of affirmation, whereas their partner is giving them quality time. So I actually got to learn a lot about myself and my partner, and I would definitely recommend this book if you are in a romantic relationship and you want to understand your partner a bit more. So the second book was so we skipped March because it was, you know, it was trial and error, so things don't really work out. So this second book was supposed to be, we read during the Easter time. It's Perfect Mess, Perfect Grace. If you've watched one of my videos, I interviewed Nobuntu Webster, who's the author of this beautiful book, and she's the woman who actually started our round of supporting South African authors. So I was pretty excited, and I actually think it pushed me to requesting the interview with her so that I can understand what the thinking behind this book was. And after I sat down with her, it made me realize and understand it much better, just like the writing process, the history behind Perfect Mess, Perfect Grace. And yeah, so this is the book that I read, the second book that I read for 2017. And then we had another stumbling block in May, but then it was just so much, guys. But anyway, the next book that I read, and I also recommended this in one of my videos, it's Dark Content in My Black Arse by Sihle Khumalo. This book, guys, is amazing. It's beautifully written. It's funny. It's got a great dose of everything. Very, I don't know, and I could relate to it if I can, because this guy, what he basically set out to do was to trek across Africa, and that's the one thing that he had kind of pushed himself to do before he turned the big 3-0, and I can resonate with that because this year I'm turning 30 and there's so many things that I want to do before that clock strikes. So, and he basically was stuck in the corporate space, and he felt like he was in a monotonous cycle where he kept on doing things in a routine manner, and it was basically boring him. And he was actually engaged, guys, and he left his partner, not left her in the sense of leaving her like it's over, but he said he just took on this expedition and experienced quite a lot. It actually made me fall in love even more with our continent, and I want to experience everything, the monuments that he mentions, the history. He presents history in such a palatable way that it made me want to know a lot more about our mother continent. So please go get it. I'm actually looking for his second offering, which is I slept on my way to Timbuktu. I remember I also mentioned this, but I'm really still searching for it because the book store that had it sold it to somebody else, and it was a second-hand copy. So the next book that I read was Eyebags and Dimples by now former Bonnie Henna, now Bonnie Mbuli, because she's gone back to her maiden surname. And it basically speaks about the various themes of mental illness, and I feel as South Africans we've got a long way to go. Yes, we're making strides, but there's so many trinkets of truth in this book that I could actually I identified with them, because the black African community have a certain way of dealing and concealing mental illness, and mental illness is only considered as somebody who, for a lack of a better word, is crazy. We most of the time think that depression is just a passing phase. However, and I remember a couple of weeks ago I was on her Instagram page, or on my Instagram feed, and she mentioned how till this day, so this was first released in 2012, and till this day she still gets people writing to her saying how this book helped them go through a tough phase in her life, because she shared so much. I think she was so misunderstood, but this book made me understand her a lot more, and how she went through her life. She shared so much, her childhood, the transition from her becoming this child star, and then, you know, everything in between, her marriage and her battle with depression. So I think this is amazing. I looked for it high and low until I found it at the exclusive books in Hyde Park, because all the other stores didn't have it, so it's definitely worth having. So the next book that I read, so Eyebags and Dimples, just by the by, is the book that the last book that the book club read, because the book club failed, unfortunately, logistical things, and yeah, it's a trial and error, like I said. But I'll mention that in the next entry about how to start a book club and the challenges that you need to kind of look forward to and, you know, avert. But this is a borrowed copy because I was stuck and I didn't know what to read, and a colleague borrowed me this by Redi Tlhabi. It's called Endings and Beginnings. It's quite a tough read, I must say. There were points where I was so tired that I was like, my brain was, aren't we getting done with this? But I managed. And what I loved about this book is also how she the narrative and how she expresses and she paints the picture, because I could identify with a lot of places in here, because she spent her childhood in Soweto, and when she explained the vivaciousness of the people, the place, you know, Southwestern Townships has a personality of its own, and the story is amazing. I really, like, for me it's a spoiler alert. I don't want to spoil it for you. If you haven't read it, please go get it, and if you have, please let me know how you found it. I actually found it hard to read. When I reached the middle, I kind of plateaued, and then I had to force myself to reach the end. So yeah, that's basically my view of this. So those are the books that I read in 2017. So these books, right, are by somebody who I think is deemed every single person under the sun as a favorite author. It's Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and I just wanted to talk briefly about these two. So this was gifted to me and I haven't read it, purely because I think I deserve a holiday and it's going to be in my suitcase. So when I finally do the damn thing for my 30th, it's probably going to be in my backpack and I'll carry it wherever. So this one is Americanah, and yeah, I can't wait to read it. And this one, much like Sihle Khumalo's book, presented me with a history lesson that I don't think I would have received from a formal textbook. It's a story about two twin sisters who, one has always been living in the shadow of the other, but however the place or the country that they lived in was experiencing so much strife in terms of war, and they get pulled away and they come back together in more ways than one, emotionally and otherwise. So it's amazing. It's a long read. Look how thick it is, but the way Chimamanda writes, guys, you fall in love and you'll see yourself on the 100 and something page without even realizing that, oh my gosh, look at the time, where has the time gone? So I definitely recommend. This one is Half of a Yellow Sun. I enjoyed it, and apparently there's something coming, right? A movie production, if it's not a television series. I don't know, it's between one of these two, if I'm not mistaken. So after the book club failed, I then continued to buy books, but I haven't touched a book since November last year, because you can, like, I remember telling you that work was hectic. There was that video, I was like, I'm ready for the year to end because I was extremely fatigued. But I still continued buying books, and I bought the first book that I'm about to show you. I bought it alone, and then the next three I bought them all at once, because I was like, I need to stock up on my books. So 2017 was definitely a year of yes for me, and it was only fitting that I bought this book by Shonda Rhimes. I haven't touched it. It's also coming with me when I go on a vacation, so I am very excited. Please don't tell me, because I've only heard good things about this, but I don't really want to know in depth. So this is one book that I'm going to read in 2018. And the next three, I'm just going to present them one by one. The first one is The Black Widow Society by Angela Makholwa. This was recommended to me by my cousin Balesa, because I was definitely looking for books. And I remember when I shared a post about the City of Joburg's book festival or something like that that was happening in Newtown. It was one of the books that formed part of their social media campaign, and I've only heard good things. She also has a book called The Blessed Girl, which I gifted to somebody else. I wanted to buy it for myself, but because I had this first recommendation, I thought, let me read this and then I'll go to The Blessed Girl. So I look forward to this. She's also a South African author, and on the cover it says, this is crime fiction at its most inventive. It's fast, brutal, surprising. I couldn't put it down. That's by Mike Nichols. So I look forward. Oh, it also says she's the author of Red Ink and The 30th Candle. So she's got quite a lot of books under her belt. The next one is Misbehaviour by Malebo Sephodi. I came across Malebo on Professor Mamokgethi Phakeng's social media page, and I really just wanted to follow up who she is, what is she all about, and I liked what I saw. And when I saw that she launched this book, I thought, hey, why the hell not? Let's support one of our own. I haven't read it and I haven't even seen reviews about it, but I look forward to it, and hopefully it's what I'm expecting it to be. It looks very okay. The typography is quite narrow and small, but it looks like a short read. Hopefully it reads well and it flows, it's cohesive. So yeah, that's basically it. Malebo Sephodi. If you've read this, please let me know what you think about it. And the last book is by Panashe Chigumadzi. I heard an interview with Panashe when the Ubuntu Book Festival was launched, and she this is Sweet Medicine, by the way, that's the title of the book, and she sounded like such a powerhouse, and I was like, oh my goodness, I need to have a cup of coffee so that I can pick this lady's brain. And I've also read a few of her articles and opinion pieces, and I think she's quite a great writer. And yes, this one has also received rave reviews, and I look forward to it. And basically, that's it, guys. If you've read any of the books here, please let me know how you found them. For those who are interested in getting these copies, I will list them down below in the description box, and so that you can go on a little scavenger hunt for yourself as well. And I don't have, I wanted to show you something. So my colleague bought me a gift card from Exclusive Books last year, and I'm looking for books that I can buy. So please let me know. I'm not going to reveal how much he gifted me, but please let me know. Suggest a couple of books that I can look into. Preferably Pan-African, South African local authors are a yay for me, and I'll definitely do my background research on them. And I look forward to seeing your suggestions and recommendations. And that's basically it from me, guys. If you love this entry, please give it a thumbs up. Please comment down below. Let me know if you would like that how-to on how to start a book club, and also just anything that you have read and if you think it may be of interest to me. And that's it from me. Thank you for watching. Love, Al.